Hello, YouTube. How are you guys doing? Happy holidays. Merry Christmas to everyone. Okay, for this video, as this title says, I'm going to be responding to questions and answers. This is a very late video. I believe my last video I made on this channel as far as Q&A was like 4 months ago. But many of you already know what's going on. I already talked about my situation. You guys know why I'm behind on a lot of my content. So in this video, I'm going to go ahead and do as I usually do. I'm going to use my phone here. I got it already pulled up. These questions and answers I'm going to be answering. Let me see. So it's going to be easier for me to answer questions. I want to use my new camera here. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so we're a minute in. All right. Okay. Well, we got 67 comments here. 67 comments. And I'm going to start from the top. What is your personal opinion on Bruce Lee? What is your personal opinion on Bruce Lee? This is by Young UFO. Okay, this question was posed 4 months ago. So as many of you guys know, Bruce Lee is like an idol of mine. I really admire Bruce Lee, not only for his martial arts, but also for his philosophy. His philosophy is very inspiring and can be applied, very applicable to a lot of different circumstances in one's own life. You know, um, I'm an avid language learner, and a lot of Bruce Lee's philosophy apply to language learning for me. So there's a lot of things about him. His dedication, how dedicated he was, how hardworking he was when he was, when he was alive doing martial arts. He was very serious about what he loved to do, and he was just an overall open, very open-minded guy. He was like a free thinker, and it's just he's very inspiring to me. So, like I said, not just his martial arts, his philosophy, his work ethic, all that stuff. You know, that's that's a really great human being right there. That's a really great. He was a really great, really. No, I'm gonna say he is a great. He is a great human being because he lives through other people. He still, his spirit still lives. So yeah, Bruce Lee, he will always be my idol and a person I look up to highly, very highly, very highly respected guy. I will always look up to him. So thanks for your question, young UFO. Um, let's see, you got two replies here. Oh, someone just said, okay, I see. Let me see. Okay, next question by Palabra. Long time. Is there something you wish you had known when you began learning specific languages? This sounds like a question that was posed like a long time ago. One of my Q&A videos, someone asked me a question that was like very similar to this. They asked me if there's something I regret or something I wish I would have known when I started learning languages from the beginning. And I believe my reply was, I really don't regret anything because to me, this whole process, the whole learning process, um, has been very high rewarding, very enriching for me. I learned a lot through going through this process. I started learning languages from the age of 18 up until now, nonstop. And my mind has opened up, like has opened up more open than before. I met a lot of people, and it's just been a beautiful experience. So I wouldn't, yeah, I wouldn't even. There is nothing I would say. Oh, I wish I would have known. I wish I had. I'm just thankful that I was able to go through that process and learn from that process, that journey. I learned a lot, and yeah, there's some things that if I'd have known now, obviously, um, I would have approached language learning differently. But like I said, hadn't I went through that process, I probably wouldn't have develop a lot of the skills that I have now. So yeah, to answer your question, not really. Not really. Thanks a lot for your question, blah blah. As usual, if you haven't some other questions you would like to ask me, just ask them and then ask me in this video. Okay. Thanks a lot. Thanks again. Next question. Let me see. Okay, I got to pay attention to the time because okay, 5:30. Yeah, sometimes this camera, this thing saying, "Oh, you're out of memory" and all that, so I got to pay attention to that. Go to that. All right, so we're still going. So, next question by ZTK. What's up, Moses? I'm learning Japanese and I'm kind of stuck. I learned my hiragana and katakana already. Pretty easy stuff. And right now, I'm on my radicals for kanji, and soon after that, kanji itself. Is this camera messing up? Let's see. Good. Okay. Um, but after a while, I start to get demotivated because while I can read and write, under I still don't understand what is what's saying, and I can never pick out a particle in a sentence because there's no space or in the conversation. Okay, what's up?
Did Dion leave his charger up here?
His charger?
Yeah.
I don't know.
What color is it, Dion? It's a white iPhone charger.
Oh, is that it right there? Is that Mark's?
This might be on. We're on. Oh yeah.
There's a white one right there, and this one is mine right here.
All right.
Yeah, this one.
Did you have a box to it?
That might
this might be his because he got the box with him.
Because Mark's is shorter. He got a shorter.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you. Yeah, this one might be yours.
Mm-hmm.
Are you? Cause you going back to your mama's house or? All right, I'm gonna leave it up here then with Uncle Moses. All right. Bye.
Okay.
He just wanted to make sure his charger was over here because he couldn't find it.
Okay.
I was like, wait a minute, where Uncle Marky go?
Yeah, he rolled with Denise to take Savannah back home, I think.
Right.
All right. Okay, I had got distracted there for a minute. So, what's up, Moses? I'm learning Japanese and I'm kind of stuck. I learned my hiragana and katakana already. Pretty easy stuff. And right now I'm on my radicals for kanji and soon after that, kanji itself. But after a while, I started to get demotivated because while I can read and write, I still don't understand what it's saying, and I can never pick out a particle in a sentence. Why my camera doing that? Because there's no spaces or in the conversation. So my question is, just what is the best approach for trying to become fluent in Japanese, and what do you recommend me doing for knowing words and picking out particles? Thank you for your time. All right, thanks a lot for your question, ZTK. You know what? This is like almost similar to a question that my student had. I have a couple Japanese students right now, and one thing that he struggles with now is trying to, like, when a sentence is together, he trying to read it and trying to distinguish the words and particles and whatnot. There's really no shortcuts for getting around that. You just have to train yourself and get used to that. You have to just go through the process and endure the pain while trying to learn how to get used to identifying particles and words in the sentences. Yeah, so you asked me as far as like what can you do to become more fluent, fluent in Japanese faster? Just like any other language, man, you just have to just consistently practice, get you a schedule, practice regularly. Practice regularly, practice regularly. Don't worry about becoming fluent. Don't worry about that. Just enjoy the journey, okay? I always tell people this, enjoy the journey. This is very important. If you get too caught up in when I'm going to be fluent, when it's going to happen, when that's going to happen, The process is going to seem slower because you're looking for that. What did Bruce Lee say? What did Bruce Lee say? It's funny because someone just asked me about Bruce Lee. What did Bruce Lee say? It's like a finger pointing to the moon. Don't concentrate on the finger, or else you'll miss out on all of that heavenly glory. Same thing. That's what he's saying. That's what that means. You apply it, that can be applicable in that situation. So don't worry about the fluency. Don't worry about that. Just enjoy the journey. Keep going. Keep practicing regularly. Keep enjoying the language. That's the best thing you can do. Okay. Um, Let me make sure you didn't ask me any other questions in here. Okay. So my question is just, what is the best approach to trying to become fluent in Japanese? Okay, yeah. So I pretty much answered your question. If you have any other questions, if I haven't answered your question thoroughly, just you can ask me more questions in this video that I'm going to post, and I will answer them in the next video that I will make the next week, or the next time. Okay. All right. So we good on my time. All right. Next question. This thing. Okay, next question by Spicy Toast. Hey Moses, I'm an English native speaker and a novice language learner. The only other language I've studied is Spanish, and that was exclusively through school. I only studied to a conversational level, though because I found it really hard to immerse myself in the language because the courses were so slow and boring. However, now I want to study languages independently, and I'm curious about something. If I was interested in studying Japanese, Russian, and perhaps an African language like Wolof, what kind of advantages and disadvantages would I be faced with considering I am an English native speaker? Thanks. All right, great question by Spicy Toast. All right, so as a native English speaker, Japanese, Russian, Wolof, okay, I would say definitely Japanese and Russian will be more difficult than Wolof. Wolof is not really a difficult language. I'm still learning Wolof myself, but from the grammar that I've learned thus far, that will be easier for a native English speaker because it's similar to English. Whereas Japanese, it's a totally backwards. It's a SOV language, subject, object, verb, which means the verb will come at the end rather than the beginning. Excuse me. Then you have the writing system. Pronunciation is not that bad. So you have a lot of different obstacles to overcome when learning Japanese. Russian, the grammar isn't as bad as Japanese as far as that order. However, they have a case system. Okay, and that case system is what causes a lot of problems for especially native speakers or speakers of other languages, that don't deal with a case system. Okay, a case system basically it changes depending on the case. It will change the word. It will change it. That's what's difficult about that. Those languages with the cases. So I would say if you were to choose, if you're going based off of like difficulty in a language as an English native speaker, I would say Wolof will be an easier approach for you. Simply because, as I said, the grammar is similar to English. Pronunciation isn't bad at all either. Okay. But also, I don't even really think it matters if you're motivated. If you're motivated enough and you really want to learn, you, I don't even think I don't think it matters how difficult a language is. Once you get into the language, you start studying, you start practicing, you just enjoying it, you're going to get fast results. Just because simple fact you're motivated, you're highly motivated, and you're enjoying the language. You're not focusing on when you're going to be fluent. You're too busy enjoying the language. Okay, so yeah, so Wolof will be the easiest choice there for you. Okay. All right. That is Spicy Toast. And thanks for your question. If you have any other questions, post them below in this video, and we will talk about them in the next video. Let me see. Is this a question? Okay, this doesn't look like a question. Let me see. I'll read this. As an Indonesian, I really want to learn several new languages. I saw your website offering online courses, but I wonder how effective it will be for people who use English as their second language. It took me years to learn English, and even then, I still make many grammatical errors. So I guess this person is because I've gotten a lot of people ask me when I will come out with different courses. Like for example, if you're a native speaker of Japanese wanting to learn something like Chinese, um, rather than it be in English, they want it all in Japanese. I'm going to eventually come out with those courses. Um, just right now it's been difficult, but I think um, I think if you have it will be if you have a pretty good, let's say, I'll say if you pretty functional in English, okay, I always say like B2 at least, B1, B2 at least, functional in English. I think the course can be uh, effective for you. You don't have to be be on a very, very extreme high level in order to use that course to learn whatever language you're trying to learn. So yeah, but as I said, I will have my course translated in other languages, like from Japanese to Chinese, from Spanish to Chinese, stuff like that in the future. Okay. All right. Frightened Yudi. Next question. Hey Moses. Okay, well my time. Okay, my time is good. I wanted to ask, is it wise to learn two languages at once? And what's your opinion on this? More so, any advice you would give on this or on learning these two specific languages in general and disciplining myself to it. Also, if it's not too silly to ask, in your opinion, if I should focus on one, what language, Korean or Mandarin, as these are the ones I'm learning, would you recommend I focus on, in your opinion, in terms of which one I'll improve and easier and such my progress? Sadly, I don't have many Mandarin friends, so it's been hard to try language exchange with people, but I do have a beginner colloquial book, which I read on transport at time, but I do wish to improve and discipline myself to study seriously. Thanks. Frightened Yudi. Okay, let me go back to the beginning of your question, Frightened Yudi. So, um, so I wanted to ask, is it wise to learn two languages at once, and what's your opinion on this? More so, any advice you would give on this or learning these two specific languages in general and disciplining myself to do it? Okay, so this is another question that I've gotten in the past. Now, if you're not an experienced language learner, if you, and that is, you, I'm not counting school, okay? I'm counting having a genuine interest in learning languages outside of school. If you're not an experienced language learner, if you haven't learned like two languages, three languages before, and you're just starting this, I would strongly recommend you to focus on one, get a good level in that one first, and then start learning your second the second language. So you said you're learning Mandarin, and let me see. You said, let me see, what was it? Korean or Mandarin. Okay, so really, when it comes to choosing which language that you want to learn, I would say you have to go with the one that you have most interest in. Like whichever one you're most interested in, I will go along with that one. But yeah, and I'm not sure which one that you're most interested in learning. So you have to go off of that. I can't really tell you, well, you should learn Mandarin, you should learn this. But however, I would say in terms of usefulness, I'm not sure where you're located at, but I would say that the Mandarin is more that it's more it's like more useful because you can find Chinese people everywhere. It's not difficult to find them. So if you want to get like that practice face to face, if you want to get that, I think you wouldn't have any problems finding Chinese people because the internet is good, but in your city there's Chinese restaurants all over the place. Not even just Chinese restaurants. If you go to a mall, they have Chinese stores. all that stuff is really easy to find Chinese people to practice with. So that's what I would say, but I can't really tell you, yeah, you should learn this, you should learn that. It really boils down to whatever which language you're most interested in. Okay. What else you say? Yeah. So really, you have to choose what you're most interested in. Okay. I can't. It's like it's just like it's almost like telling someone you should play basketball. I think you should play basketball because you got the height, but you're not really interested. You're not genuinely interested in basketball. I can't just tell you that. I just can't tell you to play basketball because I think that you should. You have to. It has to be. It has to come from within. It has to be something that you genuinely want to do. Okay. All right, Frightened Beauty. Thanks a lot, and I'm sorry. I know you sent me this a long time ago, but we got in. Okay, next question by the real Nathan Thorpe. Hey Moses, when you write sentences and submit them to a site like Line 8, do you always write a story or are simple sentences enough? I have been criticized in the past for not making post a story. My second question is, what's the radio service that you mentioned in the Samurai video? Okay, so the sentences I haven't, you know what? I haven't used Line 8 for a long time. It's been probably 5 years, but I will say when I was using that, I was just writing simple sentences. I wasn't writing like long stories. They probably changed their policy now when it comes to posting things, but I only did like simple sentences. Okay. The radio station that you're talking about is probably SBS Radio. SBS, this is SBS Radio. If you have iPhone or Android, you go to the store and just put in SBS Radio, and they will show you all the radio stations. They pretty much have radio stations for like all of the languages. Very good stuff. I love SBS Radio. I really do. All right, thanks a lot for your question. The real Nathan Thorpe. All right, next question by Roger Morera Diaz. Hey Moses, I'm Roger Morera from Catalonia. My question is, how can you improve your Chinese pronunciation? Thanks. Okay, so how can you improve your Chinese pronunciation? Um, like just like any other language, a lot of listening, a lot of dictation, uh, shadowing, and some people will call it shadowing. A lot of dictation, listening a lot, and just sound and making those sounds, exercising your mouth, pronouncing, enunciating those words. Um, that's the best way you're going to get used to doing that. You have to exercise your mouth, but listen a lot, listen closely, pay close attention to the words being enunciated, and try to dictate them. That's how you that's how you do that. And it's not just for Chinese, it's for any language. But Chinese being a tonal language, you really have to pay close attention to when the words are being enunciated so you can get that sound, and when you try to dictate them, then you can try to make the sound as close as possible. But that's how you improve pronunciation. A lot of listening and a lot of dictation. Okay, next question by LT Space Case. I was wondering what your opinion was on fictional languages such as Klingon or Dothraki. Do you know any? Also, what are your mains for the fighting games you play? Killer Instinct, Smash Brothers, etc. All right, LT. Um, I don't know. I think the fictional languages, I think that's pretty cool. I took an interest in Klingon a long time ago. I bought some resources. I never really got around to it, but I was very close. I was curious about it, and then someone told me they have these like conventions every year where people go. They even dress up. It's like some kind of Klingon convention. I was thinking about going to one of them just to hang out and just to see how it is, get that experience. But yeah, I kind of got sidetracked from that, and it never happened. These video games, Killer Instinct, I haven't played Killer Instinct for a long time, but when I was playing it, my main was Thunder, the Indian guy, Thunder. Smash Brothers, King DDD, and what's the that that dragon? Oh man, what's that guy's name? that dragon. Those were my like two characters on that game. Yeah. All right, LT. Thanks a lot for your question. Okay, we're 25 minutes in. We still good? Okay. All right. So let me see what we got here. Can you explain that riddle that you give to all the Mandarin speakers you meet? The one about waiting for the bathroom in London. And this question is by Jake Bitterman. All right, so that 大家排队上厕所，你在这国家的首都。Yeah, that one is I learned that a long time ago. I think it was off of I can't remember the movie, but Chow Yun Fat he said that he was on the phone with someone. He said he used that. It was funny. But yeah, basically 大家排队上厕所. So that's 大家排队上厕所. That means everyone is waiting in line to use the bathroom. 大家 everyone 排队 that means wait in the line, and then 上厕所 means to use the toilet. And then 你猜这国家的首都，你猜 you guess 这国家 this country's 首都 means capital. So everyone is waiting in line to use the toilet. Guess the nation of this capital, because if you can understand, if you understand the Chinese words, you can kind of figure it out, because people. All right, so Luandun is the answer. Then London. Luandun means squat in Chinese. So if you already knew Luandun means squat, it's easy to kind of say, oh, okay, he's talking about Luandun because it means squat, because you have to squat to use the bathroom. That's where that idiom. That's not idiom, but that's what that's where that came from. That's the meaning of that. All right, Jake. Thanks a lot for the question. Um, let me see. Okay. Where we at? All right, let me see. Is this a question? All right, next question by Jeremy Gordon. All right. I really think about I really think about going to Japan to teach ESL, but now with the Korean missile launch, that complicates my decision. And also, I am very much not used to Japanese food, palate-wise. I have gagged trying to eat sashimi because my palate is just not used to raw fish and things of that nature. Do you think I should just visit Japan, or do you have any advice on getting over these mental hurdles? I would love to go to Japan mainly to push my Japanese ability and learn more of the culture, but those two things are giving me second thoughts about trying to go there for a whole year. Would love to hear any of your thoughts on that. Thanks, man. Love your channel and all you do. Jeremy Gordon. Okay. So, you know, there's a lot of foods to choose from in Japan. You don't just if you have a hard time eating that, you don't really have to just try some other foods. Um, they have a lot of foods to choose from in Japan. This thing about the missile thing, I I would just say like just before you go over there and spend a whole year, because you know a whole year is a long time. I would just go over there and spend like several weeks, maybe a month or two, and then do that. Get get a feel, get used to being over in Japan before going over there and say, "Oh man, I'm here in Japan and I regret doing this and I want to go back home." I would just go over there months at a time, just kind of do it like that, and then you can make your decision. Okay, that's what I would do. That's what I would do. And again, the food, they have a large selection of food in Japan. You don't have to eat raw fish. They have plenty of different types of foods that you can choose from. Did my okay, my time's still good. Yeah. But wish you the best, Jeremy. Thanks a lot for your question. If you have any other questions, post them here and I will answer them in the next video. Someone asked me, what is the best Mandarin language school in Taiwan? Really inspiring videos. Thank you very much. This is by Hassan. Hassan, you know what? I don't know. Maybe you misunderstood. Yes, my wife is from Taiwan. I've been to Taiwan like 3 times, but I didn't study Chinese over there. So I can't give you any recommendations when it comes to language schools over there. I'm pretty sure they have some good ones, but I'm not the person to ask because I'm not familiar with those. So I really do apologize for that. I can't answer your question. Okay, Hassan. Oh, I got to sneeze. Woo! Ah, thank you. I know someone said bless you. Thank you. All right. How many times have you watched Big Trouble in Little China? You know what? I watched that one time. No, I watched it several times with Carter Wong. Okay, yeah. Yeah, several times with Carter Wong. Yep, several times. Okay, it's really hard to tell how many more questions I got. Let me see. I mean, I had like 70 questions. Oh, yeah, we're going to be here for a while. Hold on. Let me go back up. All right. Okay. Next question by Nelson Trinidad. I got another question. When you study with Osimil, do you skip the exercises? I usually skip the second exercise, fill in the missing words, but I'm thinking about skipping both of them so I can study the lessons faster. Do you think it's a good idea? Thanks, bro. All right, Nelson, thanks for your question. In Osimil, they do have two different types of exercises. The only exercise I don't do, honestly, is the one where you have to fill in the blanks. I don't do those. I mainly do the exercise where there's they kind of mix up the vocabulary from the dialogue. They have like 5 or 6 of them, and you like translate them. I don't skip those. Also, I like to write them out as well. So it's really up to you what you want to do. If you want to skip them, it's on you. But I just yeah, I do the exercise. Not all of them though. I just don't do the fill in the blanks. Next question. Oh, he has another question. How many languages do you think it's possible to learn and maintain at least at a low intermediate level? You know what? That's difficult because you have to it really depends on the person, the individual. You got time is a huge factor. The more time, this is how it is. The more time you have and the more time you have and the more effective your approach is, the more language you will be able to learn. Obviously, time, we only have 24 hours in the day. If you got to work and go to school, that's taking up time. If you don't have to do any of that, you have extra time, you can take an hour and be learn the language for an hour. You can learn multiple languages. If you do that, you can do that for multiple languages for an hour. Um, the approach is important too because the approach can speed things up. So it's time and approach. How many languages? It's kind of hard to say. It's so many languages in the world. I would just say that a lot. You can learn a lot of languages. Low intermediate level, it's really not hard to achieve that level, especially if you have a really effective method and you have the time. Um, yeah, you can learn a lot of languages, but I'm not gonna put a number out there. It's really, I don't want to sound crazy. Okay, let's see. Okay, you got another question. My methodologies have been changing over the years, but nowadays I usually repeat out loud sentences and words about 30 times each. So I will use Asimil like that. Is it a good idea to study 3 to 4 languages like that? 2, 3 lessons per week for each language? Um, I mean, if you can handle it, I would say if you can handle it, yeah. I mean, I don't want to just come out and say it's a bad idea. I think you're an experienced language learner. So yeah, if you're doing, let me see, 3 to 4 language, yeah, if you seem to be an experienced language learner, so I think that shouldn't be a problem for you. Just have to you just have to make sure you split up the time good, and make sure your approach is effective. All right, Nelson. Thanks a lot for your question, man. Okay, next question by, ooh, it's a long one, by Andre. All right, here we go. I'm just paying attention to my time because sometimes this camera will cut off, and I will have to if it does that, I'm gonna have to start the video, continue it, start a whole new video, keep this footage, but then just go into a new one. All right. So, hey, what's up, sis? This is Andre from Colombia. I'm learning English since I was in high school, but I couldn't speak anything back then. Now it's been a long time since I've been listening and reading in English on a daily basis. Let's say 2.5 years. So now I can speak somehow fast, and my understanding of the language has improved a lot. The thing is, I think this is somehow affecting my Spanish because I feel like I need to think more when I speak my native language now than when I speak my English. So my question is, did I mess up? Did I mess up my Spanish by reading and listening in English on a daily basis for more than 2 years nonstop? I'm a student, so normally I get to spend all my time in classes, the library, and at home for sleeping. The classes are in. Okay, sorry about that, guys. My camera, I actually hit my camera and knocked it off by mistake. So let me pick up this where I left off. Okay, so I'm student, so normally I get to spend all my time in classes, um, the library, and at home for sleeping. Let me see. The classes are in Spanish, but all the material I use for studying is in English. Now I feel insecure when I speak Spanish because it's my native language, and it bothers me that sometimes I need to think more in order to put complex sentences together than I do when I speak in English. I met you on Hello Talk, by the way. Anyway, let me know if I'm sick or crazy or something. I just don't understand why I feel like the more fluent I am in English, the less I become in Spanish. That's crazy, knowing that Spanish is my native language. Okay, very interesting, very interesting. I'm not sure how that's happening. That's very interesting. I'm not sure how that's happening. Hmm. If you're in the if that's your native tongue and you're in the environment and you have to use that language, I don't even think it should matter if you're doing what you're doing with English like that. Now that's a very, you know what? That's a very, very important. I mean, that's a very interesting question that I would like to actually hear from other people, because if I go back to now, I will say something. Let me actually, if I go back, I remember when I studied Chinese. When I was studying Chinese intensively, I did notice certain things I was doing that we don't normally do in English. For example, I think I talked about this before. Like, although in Chinese, when they use although, like, although I don't have to go, although I will go to the university today, they say, although I will go to the university today, but I will do this. In English, we don't do that. And I found myself doing that when I was using it, although in English, I was a, I was I was adopting that. I was adopting that from the Chinese, and I didn't even really mean to do that. I was just doing that like because of based off of that language. So that did have an effect on certain word usages in English. So I don't know. I guess, but like I said, I want to see what other people will say about this because this is very interesting. I would really love to see this if this has happened to anyone else, and I don't think it's because you're crazy or sick or anything. Because like I said, it happened to me a little bit. Some like that butt thing, although, and I'm pretty sure there's some other things that I can't think of right now. Okay, thanks for your question, Andre. Okay, so look, this is what I'm gonna do, guys. Let me see, because it's 6:45 now, and I have a class here soon. I might not be able to answer all these questions. I'm afraid. Let me see. Let me see how many. Let me see. Yeah, I have a lot. Oh, actually, you know what? I might be able to actually. Okay, let me just continue. I might be able to. Hold on, let me go back up. Okay, yeah, yeah. Let me keep going. All right, here we go. Next question by Niels Bauer. In your level of videos, you mostly answer the same questions and talk about the same things like what language do you speak? Wait, it's things like what language do you speak? Why do you speak them, etc. Doesn't get boring? Wait, hold on. Ooh. I didn't mean to do that. I didn't mean to do that. Let me see. Let me see. Are you sometimes looking for deeper, more interesting conversations? How do you do that? All right, Niels Bauer, thanks for your question. I know exactly what you're talking about. Exactly what you're talking about. Yes, in my level of videos, it's a lot of repetitive stuff. But what you need to understand is when I go out, like when I make these videos, it's pretty much to show people what they can do, a certain process that they can do when they start a language. Like repetition is key for learning. If you're learning a language for the first time, go to several different places doing the same stuff, doing that over and over and over and over. It's a good thing to do. So I'm actually demonstrating to people, showing them that you can do the same thing if if you're going out in the battle for the first time. Now, it doesn't get boring to me, especially because it's always a new experience. However, if I want to switch it up, if I do want to talk about something deeper, provided that I'm on that level, sure. I mean, you can. Like for example, if it's a if let's say, because for the first time, this is how it is. If I go to a place for the first time, if I've never spoken with them before, the conversation is going to be a certain type of conversation. It's going to be a certain type of conversation. So let's take 4 Chinese restaurants. If I go to this first Chinese restaurant and I talk with those people, the second Chinese restaurant that I go to is more likely going to be the same conversation. The third Chinese restaurant I go to is more likely going to be the same conversation. The fourth Chinese restaurant is more likely going to be the same conversation. Now, if I go back, then see, now I'm not going to be able to use that stuff that I used on before. I'm going to be forced to talk about something else because they already gotten that information from me before. So going back to a place more than one time, it forces you to use more of the language, or you don't even have to do that. You can find somebody on the internet, get on Skype, talk with them, about something in depth. I mean, there's a lot of different options that you can do. You don't have to just keep doing that repetitive stuff. You don't have to. But do I get bored? No, I don't get bored. I don't get bored at all. Because I know I have a large audience, and not everyone, there's people watching that have never even learned a language. So by me doing that, that gives them an idea. It's like, you know what, I'm going to do the same thing he does. And then they can, once they do that, they come up with something that they want to do. Whatever they may be like, oh, I'm going to do this now for myself. You know what I'm saying? All right, Mr. Bauer, thanks for your question. Do you speak Esperanto? If not, are you planning to learn it? I speak a little Esperanto, and I'm actually learning it now. It's one of my active languages. Next question. The Huggy Googie. Are you going to attend the annual Fin Fest in Minneapolis? Would be good practice to you so you're finished. You know what? It's a good question. I actually almost went. I almost went, but I realized that it was really expensive. The fee was expensive. I can't even remember. I think it was like $50 or $60 for admission. And when I saw it, I was like, oh, shoot, I don't know if I want to, because then we go up to Minnesota, I have to get a hotel, pay for gas, and then admission. And then you already know money going to be spent in there for food and whatnot. So I had changed my mind on that. But you know what? I think if I plan ahead and just put the funds to the side, I can do it like the next year or something like that. But I almost did go this year. I almost did. Okay, next question. I am the original. Let's look at my time. Okay, time is good. As a fellow CBUS resident, what areas would you recommend to throw yourself in to be heavily exposed to Mandarin language encounters? Ohio campus, Henderson, Bethel Road, rich and Asian supermarkets. Curious, here's us. Okay, so yeah, they have a lot of places to practice Chinese. Campus, you can't go wrong with the college campus. Lots of Chinese people. Then over near campus, Olentangy, there's a apartment. There are apartments over on Olentangy. I can't remember the name of them. That's China. That's China. If you go over there and during the summer walk around, Chinese people all over the place. All over the place. Then they have I believe it's the same row on Olentangy. It's a garden. Chinese people in there planting stuff. It's amazing. It's really amazing. So you can't go wrong. That campus, I think the campus is probably the best place to go to in that area, because all that Olentangy Road that I just mentioned, all that stuff is on campus. It's all the same area. To hang out on campus, you can't go just walk around. Just walk around and you'll get it in. And then I'm not sure if you go to Ohio State, they have a good flagship program, Chinese program flagship. I mean, it's just really, really good place to practice Chinese. Very good, very, very good. They have a lot of supermarkets. Bethel Road, you mentioned Bethel Road, that's another good spot. But I think that campus, if you don't want to spend any money, just go to walk around on campus. Go to some small bubble tea shops, or something like that. Wish you the best. I'm the original. Thanks for your question. Okay. All right, I gotta pace this to the time. Okay, so what do you think about beginners using subtitles? Will it hold you back, kind of like Romaji, but for the ear? Well, subtitles. The thing about subtitles. This is the thing about subtitles. If you're trying to really listen, trying to hear the language, you want to be totally tuned into the language. You want to listen for the accent, for the pronunciation, all that stuff, the rhythm of the language. Subtitles will hinder you from that because you're focused on the subtitles. You're not really tuned into the pronunciation. You're not tuned into the language. You're distracted by subtitles. Okay. I mean, if you can always watch the movie a couple times, you can watch the movie one time looking at subtitles, and you can just watch it again without looking at subtitles. You could do that. But yeah, subtitles will kind of take your attention off of the language. Yes. All right. Thanks a lot for your question, Pain. Hey man, next question by Soccer Insider. Hey man, I'm taking Spanish in high school. What courses and methods do you recommend for me to improve my Spanish? Also, what's the difference between Castilian Spanish and Latin American Spanish? Also, what books should I get to study Spanish? Thanks. Okay, so you're taking Spanish in high school. I would look into Teach Yourself has some good books. Así Colloquial. There's a lot of Spanish material out there. Just look for those titles. Así Teach Yourself, Colloquial. Those are really good courses that you can use, to learn Spanish. The difference between that Castilian and the Latin American is just accent wise. Like for example, in Latin, like I'll take a word like hacer, which means to do. In Latin America, they say hacer. But Castilian Spanish, which is spoken over in Spain, they say hacer. They have a lisp. They use that a lot in their in that language. It's just accent. That's the only thing. But they both can understand each other. They may have some words that they use more than the other, but for the most part, they can understand each other. All right, Soccer Insider. Thanks a lot for your question. Okay. Let me see. Yeah, maybe I had to finish this up. Okay. Let me see. Oh, shoot. Wait. All right, here we go. So next question by KMO325. Moses, when do you plan to subtitle your early level of videos? I mean, videos like Mark Pie's Chinese restaurant for the Easton Mall Meltdown, the classic cuts. Okay, good question. You know what? I actually thought about it like a week ago. I'm going to start going back, adding the subtitles to the older level of videos. That's what I'm going to do. The longer ones, I may even do, if they're very long, I may cut them up and make like a part 1 and then part 2, do something like that just to save time on the subtitles. But yeah, I'm going to be doing that very, very soon. Next question by Lucas. Hey Moses, in this Q&A, you showed a quick example of your dialogues that you write out. I used to write dialogues every once in a while, but I have taken your advice and I've written and really focused on them more and more. I'm happy to say they have helped me out a lot. Could you show a bit more of them? The one in this video, I think it was Greek, had some cool calligraphy looking stuff. Could you show a bit more of that? Also, do you have any interest in Native American language? I studied a bit of Inuktitut, and I found it really interesting. It's in my time. Like, okay. Yet difficult to practice with others because natives are so scarce, even in Canada. Last question: have you ever studied linguistics? When you start a new language, do you go over stuff like phonology, or do you just feel it out when listening to others speak? Thanks, and I wish you well. All right, Lucas. Thanks a lot for your. Let me see. Thanks a lot for your question. All right, so unfortunately, I don't have any of my writings here with me to show you. Oh, you got lucky. Look what I got here. Let me show you something. Look, I do got something here. I'll show you real quick. I got this. I just wrote this 2 days ago. This is Mong, and this is from a story. This story called The Uneducated Boy and His Glasses. I just wrote this out 2 days ago, as you can see. So here you have, let me try to line it up with the camera. So Mong, I wrote Mong here. And this is not even the whole story. There's like a book online I just copied out of it. Like 2 parts. So this is Mong here, and this is the translation. I will write more in like another week or so. But yeah, this is what you're talking about. Same thing. I did the same thing with Greek. Very helpful. Very, very helpful. Very helpful. If you never tried it, if anyone who's never tried it should try it out. It's very good. I like to, when I do that, I like to listen to the audio at the same time. Okay. All right. Where we at? Do I have any interest in Native Americans? Absolutely. Actually, I studied Navajo for about 5-6 months a couple years ago. I have some videos on Navajo on my channel, and I would love to touch back up on Navajo. And seeing how that I will be relocating to Arizona, I will probably get more into Navajo once I relocate there, as they have a large population of native speakers of Navajo language. Linguistics. I've never really studied linguistics. I've taken a linguistics class a long time ago. It was pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting. Linguistics, despite it deals with languages, I'm not really as interested in linguistics as I am into actually learning the language itself. And like you said, do you just you said, do I go over stuff like phonology, or do you just fill out? I fill it out. I don't really go over that and scrutinize that stuff at the beginning. I'm not saying it's bad. That's just not my cup of tea. I don't do that. I normally just listen, and then I fill it out, and then once I fill it out, then perhaps later on I will go through it and kind of see, oh, why was it pronounced this way? Why was it pronounced that way? Who is that? Who is it? Okay, thanks a lot for your question, Lucas. All right. Let me see. We're getting closer, I believe. Hey Moses, I'm Roger Mora. I would ask you, what language would you speak if you encountered an alien? You know what? I have no idea. I don't know. I'll speak everything. How about that? I'll speak Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Spanish, Russian. I'll speak everything. I'll just try it. Hell, they may be able to understand it. Who knows? All right, Payne again. One more question. I've noticed you seem to make a lot of friends, like in that live bait and tackle level of video with Russian fishermen. I was wondering if you have still kept in contact with people like that from so long ago, and what do you think about them today? Are they still as friendly as they were? Good question. You know what? I think I tried to call the dude before a long time ago, but lately, I haven't spoken with him. I haven't spoken with him. Payne again. Oh man, you have a long one this time. Let me see. Okay, let me see. I have a few questions. I am all self-taught, by the way. Why are your fingernails so long? Okay, I'm gonna just start. I'm gonna start from the top. Why are your fingernails long? So my fingernails, yeah, I do have very long fingernails. I'm pretty sure everyone will agree with that. I have well, right now I just cut them not too long ago. As you can see, this finger right here, I broke it. My fingernails are very long because they grow fast. And my brother has the same problem. It's funny and ironic because we have two sisters. Our fingernails grow grow faster than our sisters, and they're female. Like our fingernails grow even on our feet. My dad's the same way. My grandfather was the same way, and it just gets tiring cutting them. So it's just like sometimes you just be like, you know what? I don't even care. I'm not gonna cut them, and then it's just random. Don't feel like cutting them, and then like you say, you know what? I need to just cut my fingernails. I just broke my nail. I need to just go ahead and cut them. It's like that. You get tired of them. So nothing, no particular reason. It's just they're long as hell. That they're just like that. They're natural. All right, second, I've been watching a lot of your old stuff and taking note of some of your friends and family, like your nephew, etc., saying they're going to start learning a new language like Chinese, etc. Question: have they? Um, my nephew, it seems like he's taking an interest in Japanese. He showed me something very interesting the other day. It was like a cloth, and he wrote like Chinese characters on there. It was like an artwork thing, and he said he liked them. And I told him, I said, man, if you're interested, if you're really interested, I can definitely help you learn these languages, Chinese, Japanese. And he said, oh, you know, Chinese or Japanese. I'm into the anime and stuff, so he probably is looking like he's going to get into it. Now, my niece, she just started learning Korean like several weeks ago, and I've been helping her with that. So yeah, great, definitely. Three, I'm learning six languages at once: French, Spanish, Italian, Korean, Japanese, and Mandarin. And I hear people say it's a bad idea to do so, but I've been finding that it makes it easier to learn each because they intermix a lot of grammatically and in vocabulary. I do two different languages a day, so it feels like I'm only learning two, both for one good hour plus 30 minutes of light grammar. And then if I have time, I do preview in all the other languages. Also, oops, also, plus I have a bit of knowledge of French and Japanese already, which helps, I guess. What do you think about this? I think that's a good thing that you got going on there. That's great. Yeah, I like that. I like how you mix them up like that. That's really good. That sounds really good. Keep that up. That's a good strategy. Um, Four, not really a question, but I'll just like to say that I find French, Spanish, etc. relatively easy and normal, quote unquote normal, which is part of why I love the Asian languages. I've heard you talk about that once. Sorry, it's kind of long. By the way, I wasn't even trying, and I learned a fair bit of French in just 3 months. That's how easy it was, and I'm not a very smart guy, which you can probably tell by my abusive punctuation. Thanks a lot for your question, Payne. Your questions. You asked me several questions there. Great stuff, man. And again, I like your system. I like what you're doing. That's a good strategy. How you mixing them up like that. Now, if you, I think a beginner. You said that you heard that it's not a good idea. Oh, okay. You heard that it wasn't a good idea. That's because if you don't have any experience, it could be difficult, and it can definitely have an effect on your motivation. But you seem to be motivated and are doing very well. So keep it up, man. If you're As long as you're motivated, keep doing what you're doing. I don't care if you're doing 20 languages. If you're able to do that and you're motivated, that's what is all. That's what counts. That's all that matters is the motivation. So keep that up. Kudos. Next question. I'm trying to wrap these questions up because I have in about 25 minutes. I have a class. Have a Okay. All right. Hello, Moses. I hope you're doing great. Greetings from Finland. So, could you give me some advice on or tips on how to learn a SOV language? I am currently learning Persian, and I am using your FLR course as well as colloquial Persian, which are both great. But I do have some difficulties in making sentences. Thank you. Okay. Huba. Let me see. Okay. Well, like I tell everyone else, when you start a language, especially if it's new and structured, the only thing you can do is just jump in the language, jump in and just play with it. Play with it, make sentences. You said that you have the FLR course, so really a lot of the sentences are pre-constructed already, so you don't really have to worry about the grammar. All you have to do is just play with it and create your sentences. using those sentences already constructed. Same with another course like colloquial. They have example sentences. You can play with those. So basically, the whole idea is playing with the language, just playing with it, 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 playing with it. And as time goes by, you start getting used to it, and things start clicking. That's how it works. So if you keep doing that, keep playing with it, and then keep trying to use it on a native speaker, you in for a great surprise. Okay, next. Okay, thanks a lot for your questions, Sajal Maksud. Okay, so hey, see how I am asking this question for a friend. They are shy. They would like to know, why do you push off grammar for a couple of months? Also, if you push off grammar, what do you do in place of it? Okay, Mark, long time no see. Thanks a lot for your question. Um, I say this a lot in my videos. I say this a lot. Um, I push off grammar for the first couple months because, okay, if I start off learning a language through grammar, it's going to be a language that I have some. Let's say, for example, let's say I can speak fluent Portuguese. Okay, let's say I can speak fluent Portuguese. If I decide to learn something like Italian, Spanish, I will do grammar. Now for those languages, I can do grammar because it's very similar. The family is very similar. But if it's a totally different language, let's say something like Arabic, Japanese, or Navajo, or any type of language, as a native English speaker, I'm gonna have to use a different approach because the grammar is totally different. It's not the same. Um, and I'm gonna just have to get a feel of it. So the first 2-3 months, by me doing that, playing with the language, it helps me to get a feel of the language, and then I can start getting into grammar gradually. Now, I may do some very light grammar, maybe mess with personal pronouns, like some very simple stuff, but I'm not going to go hard on grammar at the beginning. I'm not going to do that and mess to mess up my motivation. I'm not going to do that. So that's why I push off of grammar for the first 2-3 months. After that, I start getting into grammar. I love grammar. I really do, but I just don't do that at the beginning. I don't do that. All right, Mark, thanks a lot for your question. Next question by Snowman's Apartment. Hey, is it true that you studied 3 months to get to an intermediate level? Did you take a video on how to do that? um, yeah, it's true. Depending on the language. Now, 3 months. It's not. 3 months is a lot of time. If I focus on one language for 3 months, I can definitely reach that level. The intermediate level can be reached in 3 months. If I just focus on one language, but if I got a couple languages going on, I may not reach that. It may take me a little longer, obviously, because of the time that I have to put into the other languages. So it really all depends on how many languages being learned. One language being learned is definitely a possibility. Maybe two, actually. One or two languages could reach that level. I think I made a video talking about that a long time ago. May have to update it, make an updated video about that. What my time's looking like. Okay, 27. All right. Next question. Oh, thanks for your question, Snowman's Apartment. Next question by Lansamaz. When are you coming to Australia, mate? Specifically Sydney. We are a very multicultural city, and we also have a great fishing spots. Would love to meet you and observe your level up process in person. I would also like to thank you for rekindling my fire to get back into learning Japanese. My ethnicity is Samoan, so I hope to see you hit up some of those Polynesian languages in the future. Peace from Australian brother. Oh, great. You know what? I would love to go to Australia, but it's really hard to say right now. There's a lot of places I want to go to. We'll see. I always keep my fans updated on my travels. So if you're following me on a regular, you'll know firsthand if I'm going to be traveling to Australia. You will know. I'll always update my fans when it comes to traveling outside of the country. Okay. All right, guys, this is what I'm gonna do. I think I got about 10 more questions here. And it looks like, yeah, I have 10 more questions here. Brandon Jackson is the next question. So this is what I'm going to do, because I'm going to have to stop because I have a class in about 15 minutes. The next video where I answer questions and answers, I'm going to take those. And I'm going to answer them in that video. Yeah, normally I'm able to answer all of the questions, but yeah, I have a class here. I thought I would be able to wrap this up when I first started, but yeah, it looks like I'm running out of time. So yeah, those are all the questions I want to answer in this video. I will answer more questions in another video. Okay, so again, if you have any questions that you want to ask me that you want me to answer in the next video, ask me right here in this video. Okay, so that is it. And yeah, I hope I answered your questions thoroughly. If not, ask me, maybe let me know in the next video or in this video, and we will take care of that in the next video. So thanks a lot. Thanks for viewing. You guys have a happy holidays, and talk to you soon. Peace out.